Now, one of the key 5 tests was, of course, a big halving of inflation. Liam Halligan, GBNews' economics and business editor, joins me. This was one of the 5 pledges that everyone at the time thought they'd meet, because inflation had peaked anyway, hadn't it?
Inflation has just come off its peak. He made the pledge at the beginning of 2023. Inflation was about 10.5%. Yeah. It had been 11.1 back in October 2022, a 40-year high. But they thought it would be easy. In the end, inflation has come down throughout 2023, and there's a new figure out today which we'll talk about. But things don't happen in a straight line, and there were little moments when it looked as if he might not make it, but he has made. He's well under 5%. We went the inflation for February, during the year to February, it came out this morning, 3.4%, down from 4 in January. So what does that mean? It means prices in February were 3.4% on average higher than in February 2023. Of course, they're still going up, but they're going up by less.
Yeah. No, and we got an interest rate decision coming on Thursday of this week.
Yeah. Tomorrow I'll be there, bright and early, bushy-tailed.
Yeah. Now, interest rates shot up, of course, rather later than some of us thought they should have done. Is it now time for interest rates to start coming down?
I think it's well over time. I think we should have been cutting interest rates months ago. But, you know, what do I know? The Bank of England won't cut interest rates tomorrow. Because inflation is still well above the 2% target, and because I don't think they've got the kind of institutional acumen to cut rates. There are 9 members of the Monetary Policy Committee. As recently as last month, they were still voting to raise interest rates.
I know.
But the money markets do believe that interest rates are going to come down soon. That's why on this lower than expected inflation number, you already saw mortgage companies adjusting their standard variable rates or saying that they would soon. So this is better if you're trying to get a mortgage, if you've got a fixed rate mortgage. On the other hand, Nigel, as you know as well as I do, many GB News viewers and listeners, they'll be older people living on fixed incomes, living on their savings. They don't like the fact that interest rates have been, you know, ultra low for many years, less than the rate of inflation for many years, so negative in real terms. They like the fact that interest rates are now 5.25% and inflation is 3.4%, because, you know, for the first time in a long time, they're getting a real return on their savings. And we're meant to be encouraged to save in this country.
We may well head down to 2% inflation.
I think we will quite soon, and then that's why the Bank of England will again be way behind the curve.
But what's mad about this is it seems that the Bank of England is judged purely on the inflation figure. There's something out there called growth. And I'm just wondering, Liam, is inflation coming down also a symptom that effectively the UK economy has flatlined for the last 2 years?
Yeah, we've barely grown. I mean, in per capita terms, we've shrunk for the last 6 quarters, which is unbelievable. What does that mean? What's that mad bloke on the telly talking about? What I'm saying is GDP is the sum total of goods and services produced in the economy each year. GDP per capita is just that amount per head. It's a very rough and ready but a good definition of living standards. Our living standards have been falling in this country, not least because the population has been rising so rapidly. But look, in these numbers today, in these Office for National Statistics numbers, the headline number that we'll all read about is for 4 to 3.4%. Within that, a couple of things I just wanted to highlight, if I may, that I think GB News viewers and listeners will find interesting. Food inflation is now at 4.5%. So it's still higher than actual inflation, but a year ago it was 19%, a 45-year high. Shoppers know that food prices are still going up, but they're going up now a lot less quickly than they were. Petrol prices, February 23 compared to last month, they've actually gone down. Petrol is 4% cheaper than February a year ago. Bear with me. Diesel is 11% cheaper than February 12 months ago. But in the last couple of weeks, of course, petrol and diesel prices have been nudging back up. Again, taxi drivers watching GB News, you can stop shouting at me now. I am also a motorist. Why is that happening? Because the oil price has been ticking up. And I don't want to be a moaning Minnie. I don't want to be some kind of, you know, person putting a downer on this, you know, generally good news for the economy, because when inflation comes down, more investment, interest rates will come down, more growth, more consumption, more feelings of prosperity. But my concern is that the oil price the oil price is creeping up. Wholesale gas prices are creeping up. That will feed into inflation. They're creeping up because of geopolitics, because of wars around the world.
The Red Sea, the Houthis.
All of that. The OPEC exporters cartel, they're pretty good at jacking up oil prices when they need to. And the Russians, who aren't part of OPEC, hand in glove now with the Saudis, jacking oil prices up. Oil prices, Nigel, you're an ex-commodities trader, up 11% in the last 10 days. That is not pretty. The Monetary Policy Committee will be looking at that too, if they've got any sense.
Yeah, that is a real... I think what's happening in the Red Sea is a very real risk this summer. Liam Halligan, as ever, thank you for joining me. In a moment...